Hello, everybody. In this lecture, we will create a little bit bigger example, a little bit bigger process. And this will be actually a concluding lecture about the basics of Petriflow low-code language and Netgrif low-code platform. So we choose proof of concept, or I would say first prototype of a software. Imagine that you have a small company and you would like to offer mortgages for people that want to buy some properties, and this is what will be implemented today. So first we will start with the process, and then we will add the data and forms and actions. So imagine if you have a small bank, you started just now, and you would like offer your mortgages just online. So you would like to actually start with so-called happy path. So first of all, you would like that the first task of the whole process is that somebody will apply for a mortgage, and after your client will apply for a mortgage, later we will make the data and the forms, but now we can say in this first task, a person will fill the personal data, will fill the data about income and amount of money that needs to be borrowed, or the things like the length of the mortgage should also be as a data attribute in this form. And after it is submitted, we would like that based on the amount of money and the length, the monthly payment is computed. And if, very simple rule, our bank is very nice, if you make more money than is your monthly payment, then we will give you a mortgage. So we will approve a mortgage or pre-approve a mortgage, I better say. So we could do it using arcs with variable weights, but we will do it in this example with a traditional way, having a system tasks. And if it is pre-approved in happy path, then uh, then we need that somebody will fill the data. The client will fill the same person that submitted the request, the client, but the same one will fill the data about the property that he wants to buy against the mortgage. Okay, and if the data are filled, then we need that property appraiser, an expert, will uh, will create an appraisal report evaluating the value of the property. And after it is submitted, we again would like to decide whether it is approved or rejected. And we want to make it automatic here in our small bank. So, and we have a very simple rule: if the evaluation of the property in appraisal report is higher than the amount of money that somebody would like to borrow, so then we will automatically approve it if it was pre-approved. And after that, so we want that it's automatically approved. And after that, we would like that the client will sign a contract with us. And after the client will sign a contract with us, we would like to have two parallel branches. One employee of the bank, or maybe a system, should check uh, alien inscription, And if it's checked, then we would like to actually join the two parallel branches and to pay the money of the mortgage. And now we will make this parallel branch here. So we will say, okay, the second thing that we need to make parallel with checking lien inscription is that we want to have an insurance of the property. Okay. Okay, we want to make an we want to have an insurance of the property. So maybe we can move this a little bit further. Okay, to have it a little bit nicer. And so this is actually a happy part. We can now add descriptions to different places denoting states and to different tasks. So we can say, okay, or this is actually a start. This is task. We can say apply for mortgage. Then it is applied. We will not give names to all the states because it's clear that after the mortgage is applied, after the mortgage is applied and it is applied in the state applied. But now here we have this pre-approval. So pre-approve. So after the bank is automatically pre-approving, then we need that the person is actually giving the informations about the property. So info about property. And after information about property is entered into system, then somebody need to make this appraisal report. Give a value, an expert giving a value of the property. And after that, it's again not pre-approved, but this is actually approved. And if it is approved, then this is the task that we will call sign loan contract. And after the loan contract is signed, we can actually move this a little bit here. After the loan contract is signed, we would like to have this confirmation. So confirm lien inscription in the property register. And this one is sign an insurance contract in some of the insurance companies. And after both of these are done, so we actually want to send money. send money to the customer. Okay, and this is the actually end place. So if everything goes fine, so somebody is opening the form, filling all the data about himself and his financial situation, how much money uh, what he wants to loan. After that, a bank is pre-approving automatically based on the fact that he has a more money monthly in a salary than the monthly payment of the loan based on length of the loan and the total amount of money. Then he fills info about the property. Then an expert is writing appraisal report, evaluating the property. After that, if everything goes fine, it means if the valuation of the property is higher than the loan itself, then it's automatically approved. Then the client is signing the loan contract. Bank is checking lien inscription in the property register, and the customer client is signing the insurance contract, and then the bank is sending the money. So this is a happy path, and we want to also enrich, because sometimes we need to reject. So sometimes actually we need to reject. And if we reject, so then we go to a common state that is rejected. Yeah. But also we go to the same state. Here was approved, but it also might be rejected. And it goes actually to the same state. And we also want those things that we used in these request processes in previous lectures. So we want that once the application for mortgage is done, we would like to have here a parallel branch that the uh, client can see the status, and we will use this thing here, this read arc that we already introduced, but we will a little bit shift this down to make it more pretty. And we also would like to comply with GDPR. So if it's rejected and the customer is asking for deletion, so it should be possible to delete by the client himself. So once it's actually here, so if it was rejected, either by pre-approval or by approval after the property was already known and its evaluation. So, but also we want then take a token from this place, because then it's really deleted. I can actually move it like here, maybe. And if it's deleted, then there is another possible end of the process. And after it's deleted, so the customer cannot anymore see the information, but we also would like to actually have another task here, and only if it is deleted, we still would like to see some data attributes of that application, because we don't want to delete the application itself. We just want to delete some personal informations from the application according to GDPR, like name or surname or address of the customer. But maybe we would like to keep some information for statistical purposes, for how long time somebody asked, or what was the price of the property evaluated, etc. So we would like to have here kind of add a task, and we will actually call this reject, and we will call also this a reject. And we will call this task anonymized status. So status after anonymization. And we will call this one as delete personal info. Okay, this is actually the whole workflow process. And if we now try to simulate not only the happy part, we see that after somebody is filling all the data and applying for mortgage, it might happen that his salary, monthly salary, is smaller than the monthly payment, or another possible uh, rule that automatically decide about rejection, and we would like then automatically assign and finish this task. This will be a system task, and after that, the client and the people in the bank, employees of the bank, could see the status of the application. So we would like to have here some data, and but it is possible, if it's rejected, that the person will delete the personal information, and after that only anonymized information is removed after removing personal information about the client and maybe others of the property or whatever could be seen by the people or employees at the bank. And another possible uh, scenario was that after it's applied for mortgage and it is pre-approved and the information about property is filled in the application, then the expert will evaluate the property, and after the property is evaluated, the value of the property is actually smaller than the amount of money in the loan that is applied for. So it should be automatically assigned and finished this reject task. And the system can continue from the same state by seeing the status and possible deletion of the personal information. And if the personal information are deleted, the status for the client is not anymore available, just anonymized status for the employees of the bank is available. So this is actually the whole process. And now we would like to fill the data and do everything, every automatic decision that we mentioned. So now we are prepared to create data forms, and in similar way that we worked with data forms in previous examples, we will use extra tasks. First one will be for personal information. We will say this is a task for personal information. And in this personal information, we actually will, okay, In this personal information, we will create a form and we will add name, we will add surname, we will add email and phone number. We will also add street and the number of the house at the street, so actually address, and then the city and postal code. This will be all the information that we will have, and we can actually change, refactor the IDs and give the titles. This is the title for name, and it should be required. And this is the field for surname, and title will be surname, and it is also required. This one will be for email and also required. And this one will be for phone number, and it is just optional. This we told that it is a street or the address. And we will say that this is optional because for us it's important name, surname, and email that we can contact the person. And this is the number, street number, and we see that street number is actually a string because sometimes it's not a number in mathematical sense, because you can have, I don't know, 35/A or whatever, and then you have city, so we will refactor ID and use the title, and we also have the last one is postal code, postal code, and the title is postal code, okay, with capital. And this is actually everything what we need for the personal information. And we also can go for regex email. So, and we copy this regular expression just to add a validation for email. And we are actually adding this validation for email. And after we have it, so we have personal information prepared to be used in a mortgage application. And actually it means that here we just, to create form, we just will add a new data variable, which is a task reference, a simple task reference. We will refactor it as a reference to personal info, to personal info, and we will say, okay, initial value will be personal information. So once we did this, we can continue and we can prepare another special task that will be used for form or part of the form, and we will say these are financial information, financial information, and here we will actually create some new fields, and these fields will be now of the type number, and first one will be of the type currency, and we will say that ID will be income, and title will be monthly income, and we will also add a data field for the time period, or the length of the loan, and we will say all of these fields are required. Income is also required, and now here we will have a field for the amount of money, and we will say, okay, this is loan amount, sorry, and this is also required, and we also will have another number of type currency, which will be monthly payment, but monthly payment actually will be just visible because it will be computed by the system based on the time period and loan amount. And now, once we have financial information form created, so we go to apply for mortgage, and we are doing the very similar thing that we did with personal informations. So we add a new task graph, which we will actually refactor its ID, and we will say this is a reference to financial info. Okay, and we also will change its initial value. So its initial value will be task T16. Actually, it means a form with financial information. So now we have created this application, which is actually consisting of two subforms. One is personal information with name, surname, etc., address, and another is consisting of a subform with financial information. Now, what we can do actually, so if we go back to financial informations, so we see here that we have monthly income, time period, and loan amount. but monthly payment is actually just visible. So we want to compute monthly payment. Anytime when somebody is entering loan amount or time period, we want to recompute monthly payment based on those two values. So because we want to call this calculation of monthly payment in more than one situation, we will create a function. So we will go to edit action editor, and we are like clicking here to functions, and we will add a function. We will get the name to that function, like calculation of monthly amount, and we will actually write here the parameters, and the parameters are, if we go here, so we see that we have ID of time period is period, and ID of loan amount is amount. So amount is the sum of money that we want to loan, and the period is the time in years. So if we go back here in this function, so we will have two parameters, amount and we will have a second parameter, but amount, maybe we can call it like amount of loan, and the second parameter will be time period in years. And if we will call this function with these two parameters, so what we actually want here is we want to call here change value, and instead of having here direct data field as in actions, we want to have a parameter here. So we want to change the value of the monthly payment. Yeah. So actually we go back to that action. So we will write, so we need the third parameter, and we will say, okay, just call it payment here as a parameter. And we want to change this payment. And actually, for sake of simplicity, we will say that we have no interest rate. We are very nice bank. We are just loaning the money without getting any interest back. So we will just say, okay, we should have here amount value. So the sum of money that we want to loan, divided by time period. And we see that here we have different names of parameters than the real IDs of the data variables, in order to show that you can write here any kind of parameter. This is just parameter. So if we will then for sure in this set events call it, like if somebody will change the time period, so we will call it with real IDs. But here in the definition of functions, we can use any kind of strings here. Okay, so amount value divided with time period, but we want to have monthly payment, and this was in years. So we have to multiply this by 12 months in a year. So this is actually our function. I see here that we forgot to write here point value. Why we write here value? Because the data attributes in Petriflow language are complex objects. They do have title, they do have description, maybe validations, initial value, etc. So value is just one of the attributes of the data variable or data attribute object. Therefore, if we want to change the value of that data attribute, so we have to write dot value here. Okay, so now we have this function, and now we want to call this function anytime when amount or time period are changed. So we are going here and in set event of this data attribute, and in post. So after it's changed, we actually go here, and what we do, we will need three different references. One is a reference to amount, which is actually, now I do not see, okay, here is loan amount. Another is a reference to time period, and the third one that we want to compute is the monthly payment. And now when we have all these three and in the right order, if I just write here give some commas here and write here the name of the function, calculation, and give some parentheses at the start and the parentheses at the end. So in this way, I call anytime when amount is changed with the new value of that amount, I am calling this calculation. And I will just copy this, and I will also go to period, and I will say here in period, I can actually do the same thing. Anytime when time period is changed, I am calling this calculation. And now we don't need to wait until we are finished with the whole process development. We can take it now. We can actually take it now, and we can export this as an XML file, and we can actually upload this to the system. And after we do it, so we can create a new case of this uploaded process. And we see that we have here actually all three forms or tasks that are here available at the beginning. So apply for mortgage, where personal information and financial information are referenced. So later we will add roles, and we will say this is the system role. So nobody can see those things directly, only as a subforms. But for the testing whether this calculation is working, we actually can do this version of the process. And also we will make assign automatic, not manual, but in this version we have to assign, and we see, yeah, really we have here these personal informations, name, surname, email, and address, and we have here these financial informations, and we can now actually try. We can see, for example, loan amount will be 12,000 euro, and time period will be, for example, 10 years. And we see that if we do it, monthly payment is 100 euro per month. So, and if we change this to, for example, 18,000, so our monthly payment is 150. And if it change time period to 20 years, it should be 75. And it really is. So we see that in this way, anytime we change either loan amount or time period, we call that functions, and monthly payment is recomputed. So in this way, we can actually react on any change of data fields. Now we go back here, and we will actually, we can do several things. We can work on other forms, or we can add roles. So let us to work first on other forms and actions. In that way, we can test it without the need of associating roles in users when we are here. So we don't need to go to role management. So it's much faster for me that I will actually test the incremental versions of the process as I'm developing it, and then to add roles at the end. So now what we want to do after it's submitted, so we don't want that pre-approve or reject here will be done by a human. We want to have it automatic because we have a very small bank. We do not have enough personnel. So what actually we want to do is to add here an action in finish, in post phase. And what we want to make it here, we would like to give here some very simple if and else statement. And we would like to say if we would like to compare two different data attributes. Actually, we want that if monthly payment is smaller than if monthly payment is smaller, so we will take this, if monthly payment is smaller than monthly income, so we are very generous. We say, okay, if you make in a month more money than you should give back to the bank, so we are giving you automatically the pre-approval of your mortgage. So very simple, yeah. And here is what we want to do now. In that case, that monthly payment value is less than income value, monthly income value. So what we want to do? We want to assign and finish a transition. And which one? We can actually go here and say it is pre-approve. Yeah, it is this pre-approve that we want to assign and finish. And what we want to do else, we also want to run a transition or a task. And which one? Now we see it is this reject, not that reject. And to be sure which one it is, we can go here to show IDs. So we want to assign and finish T10. Okay, so we will go back. So if we go back to actions, so to this finish post, so this was this one. So here we want to assign and finish T10, which is this one. This is this reject. Yes, we see that there are two different tasks that are named the same name. So in this way, the decision will be automatically done. So we actually will go here and either here or assign and finish this T10, so to come here. So we could try it for sure, but we will not. So we believe that this will work, and we will now create a form for info about the property. If you want to enter info about the property, so we will use a third subform. which we will call property info. And information, property information, similarly as personal and financial information. We can move it a little bit farther to have it symmetrical. So, and we can create a form for that. So we will use just to simulate real life. So in any country, the systems could be different, but we will just give here something that we will call cadastral number. Okay, and which is not a number, but it is kind of identification of the property. And we also would like to have here maybe a file, which we will give somewhere here, and the file will have ID title deed, which actually is a ownership certificate that certificates that you own that somebody owned the property with all the information about the property itself. And we also would like to have here maybe a type of the property, which will be, it might be for example, a single enumeration. And we will add some options. For example, just 4 values, which will be house, flat, apartment, or for example, cottage, or maybe a lot, so piece of land. So you can understand that this is just for the illustration to see actually to choose one of those things, and we will say, okay, these are the property information, and now we will just create new form for info about the property, and we will add task reference, so reference to that subform. We will refactor its ID, and we will say this is reference to property info, and we will just change the initial value. So we will say, okay, the property information will be the initial value of this task reference data variable or data attribute. So now we actually have the form for the info about property, and what we need to do now is form for appraisal report. And here, what we need to have here as a very important thing is we need to have here a new number. Okay, we will keep here currency, and we will say, okay, it will be the evaluation, so it will be the value of the, or appraised value maybe, appraised value. Okay, and we will say that this is a required data field because we need that the appraisal will end up with the value of the property, and we also would like to have a file here, and in that file we will call it appraisal report, where actually appraisal report will be uploaded by the expert who will evaluate the value of the property. Okay, so for sake of simplicity, we will not make it required, because if we will just try to test this, so we don't want to upload the files anytime that we are testing it. But in real life, this should be also a required field. Okay. And one thing is also necessary here, what we forget here, we also would like to see here this information about the property, because when the appraiser is evaluating the property, he needs to know which property is evaluated. So we should find here this reference, and it was a reference to the property. So we will just add here reference to the property, but now it will just be a visible information, so that the expert will see the information about property and can actually check the property that should be evaluated. And now we want to have this approve and this reject. Namely, it means that T5 and T11 automatic, very similar as we made here for apply for mortgage. So it means here we will add an action in finish post phase. We will actually add here an if-else statement, and again, as a condition, we will take that if the amount of money that we want to borrow as a client, so it was loan amount. If loan amount is actually smaller, so if amount of money that we want to borrow again is smaller than the evaluation, so appraised value, then actually what we want is we want to assign, and we also want to finish T5, and otherwise we want to again to remember T11. Okay, so we want to go back to this action, and this should be T11. It is this reject. Okay, so we want either run T5 or T11, and we run T5 anytime when the amount of money of the loan is smaller than the value of the property. So we are very generous. We give money always when your income is enough high, just higher as the monthly payment, and automatically if the value of the property is higher than the loan amount, then we give you automatically the approval. So we are a very nice bank. So we did it actually here at the finish of appraisal report. It means again that if we are pre-approved, gave the information about the property, and appraisal report started to appraise, then gave the evaluation, uploaded the file, and clicked on the finish button. So we got the token here, and then this if else was executed, and if the evaluation was was higher than the loan amount, so automatic approve was executed, assigned, and finished by the system. And now we have to sign a loan contract. So the person that wanted to have a mortgage should do something, and we can actually simulate this. We can create a new form, and we can, for example, add here a new text field, which will be called signature. And for the sake of simplicity, we will make it visible and just write here the initial value. As an initial value, we will just write here by pressing the finish button, you sign the mortgage contract. Thank you very much for that. So this will be actually just to show this sign, and we will have here also, at least here in Europe, we have IBAN number. So we want to know to which bank account we should send the money. So we will call this IBAN number and say that please give here IBAN number. In the real life, we would make here a kind of, we will make it required. We could make here a validation that is really seeing that that there is a IBAN. And now here, we also can add here reference to personal information, reference just visible because it's just like, signing. And we can give here the reference to property. And we could give here the reference to financial, we doesn't need to reference to financial information, or maybe yes, because there is the monthly payment. Also, we can just change this too. that order that we filled it. And we also could, okay, just to see, okay, this is just visible, this should be just visible. And we could give here the text of contract, file of contract, and all of these legal documents. But for sake of simplicity, we are just saying this is the these are the information needed to sign the contract. Okay. And now after the contract is signed, the only thing we need is to check the lien inscription, and we will say, okay, we will create a new field, which will be new file field, because we would like to have here the new title deed, and we also would like to have here just some references to information, reference to personal information, that we can really check that on that deed title is the new owner, but just visible. And we would also like to, for checking this, to have here the information about property. So to reference about property information, which also will be just visible. And in real life, this new title deed, this new title deed should be required data field, but in order to make it simpler for testing, we are not doing that. So in this way, somebody will confirm line description. So, and here the insurance, we will just make it very simple. Okay, here we will just create a new I don't know, new enumeration, and you can imagine that here we will create a new instance of a new process for the insurance itself. But for sake of simplicity, for this example, we are just adding a new field here, which is enumeration, and we can say, okay, this is another component for the enumeration, and we will call it insurance, and give here some options, some insurance companies that we are working with. Yeah, for example, Allianz or other insurance, some other insurance companies. So to choose one of them, or maybe we can call it second and third. So we don't know which insurance companies are in which country, maybe, or maybe we can give here some that are only known here in this region, and maybe this is some third insurance company. Whatever, you can give real insurance companies here if you want, and you can really call here by set event of this data attribute of this enumeration. You can really maybe show the form of that insurance company and or start the process of insurance, etc. Yeah. But now, once we have this, okay, we also should call it insurance as a title. And now, once we have insured the property and when we have the confirmed lien inscription, so we are now prepared to finish the happy path and to send the money to the customer. And just to simulate it, either we can do it automatically or somebody can do it manually, but for sure we need a IBAN number. But at that moment, IBAN number is just, or account number, which is actually equivalent of account number here in Europe. We will just have it here visible. And we also want to know how much money should we send. So we have here loan amount and just visible. And now imagine using this information, we can send the money. We will simulate sending the money just by clicking on the finish button. In that finish button, we can send this data to our bank system that will transfer the money. So for sure, we should also give the number of the contract, etc., etc. But for the sake of simplicity, for the first prototype, we just say, okay, all the necessary information to send the money should be here in these tasks. And we know that at least the account number and at least the amount of the money that we should send should be here. And now we actually finished the happy part, but we also want to have. So this is the finish of the first part of our mortgage example, and we will continue in the second part.